Hokey cokey. Good evening, people. It is Monday, not Thursday, Monday, the 8th of October. It feels like we haven't done one of these for a long, long time. But we've got 4 calls lined up for the rest of this month, including tonight's one. And then moving forward, we are going to be looking at doing one a month. So we're going to be picking wisely. We're going to have we're going to have a good speaker on once a month. So this month will be the last time that we have weekly calls. And then moving forward after that, we're going to go into monthly calls, because now that corporate have decided to help us out and put the calls on for us, then there's no need for us to put additional calls on. We're going to try and keep it as kind of tight-knit as we possibly can. And after the sprint to success calls are finished, then we're going to look at and seeing what they have to offer first. And if not, then we'll use that time to have our own accountability call ourselves within our group to keep pushing forward. So I've got a few announcements to make at the end of tonight's call, just regarding the events coming up the weekend after next. But tonight we are going to be listening to Mr. Greg Hassett. Greg's going to talk to us about the consistency of doing wine socials and how they came about doing it. And Greg and Carla have always been consistent pretty much since day one, in the fact that they run their event. They run events to events, and they always book the next one after the previous one. And I've attended the majority of these, and they've been really good events. We've had a lot of returning customers. There are a lot of customers of Greg and Carla's that always come to the events. So this is going to be quite interesting for a lot of you guys tonight that are looking at doing wine socials, that are looking at hosting wine socials, whether it be in the house or whether you're going to team up with someone else or do it in a little bit of a larger scale. So we've gone from a restaurant to we now do it in a cafe, basically, really. So it's a really good location for a wine social. You know, we the tables everywhere and banners and wine, and they always put on a good spread as well. So without further ado, I am going to hand this call over to Mr. Greg Hassett. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Paul. I can hear you.
Perfect. Right. The floor is yours.
The floor's mine. Okay. So, how did our wine socials begin? Well, a long time ago. Cara had been to the launch day in London at the Waldorf. Both of us had been to Brighton, and the UK tour was starting. It looked like everyone was doing socials. Well, everyone except us. I was happy with this. I didn't want to do socials because that would mean me getting out of my comfort zone. And at the time, I was really quite comfy and I didn't want to leave it. We already had 2 brand partners and we had free wine, so all was fine with me. We've been speaking with people on a one-to-one basis where I'm happy. We weren't setting the world on fire or anything like that, but we were ticking over quite nicely. Well, I thought so anyway. But no, Carla wanted to do a social. Everyone's doing socials and we're not. We are getting left behind. So in the end, she did get bored of my excuses, because they did get worse by the day, and she had stopped listening to them. So the day came, and yes, I had the day off work, and we went up to Zambrano Bar, where Paul, obviously, you've been before. We've known this place for years and we've used it. It's not a very busy place, but we knew the owner's face and she knew ours. Even as we walked up the road, I was not a happy bunny. I was like a dog being taken to the vets, knowing exactly where that thermometer was going to get stuck. I did not want to go. But we walked up the road. Even as I was walking up the road, I was racking my brains for another excuse. But we were getting closer and I was running out of road. So Zambrano Bar is top of our road. It has a private space upstairs. It's very little used. Own bar and toilets, nice and modern. It really is the perfect place to hold a private function. So for us, it would be great for a social. So this was it. This was the starting point of our wine socials life. The beginning of the thing that I really didn't want to do. The beginning of having to talk to a lot of people, all in one go, all about the same night, all about the same thing. Now for a lot of years, we've been in another networking company and we've been doing nicely. They taught us to never speak to groups. So we got a residual income, 70 personal sign-ups, and this has all come from us speaking to individuals. One-to-ones where I'm at my happiest. It's like the place I've been programmed to be, my comfort zone. Like most people that I've ever spoken to, I fear rejection. It's not the actual no that bothers me. It's more the thoughts that are thought afterwards once that initial conversation's gone on. It's the conversations that are said behind my back after the ask. That's the bit I don't like. So yes, that is all part of rejection. I also know that rejection can be such a crippling thing. It stops you dead in your tracks, and it stops you from getting what you want, and it stops you from getting what you actually deserve. For me, rejection has been a fear like no other. Or so I thought. Over our years, I've probably had close to 200 rejections, probably even more, but I've never actually wanted to count those. But all these rejections have been on a single face-to-face level, not on a multiple scale, not with people who know other people that we know. If we do this social, I'm going to have to ask Simon. He might say no, and that's no big deal. It's only a one-off rejection. But I'm also going to ask Darren. Now, if Darren says no also, he knows Simon and his other half, Louisa. Now, if they talk, I've got 3 people talking about me behind my back already, and I've barely started. And if they get to Terry before I do, that's 4 people. Now they're all in the know. They all said no. And Terry's best mate, Dave, that's just a no in the making. And I haven't even spoken to the bloke yet. They're all going to tell others. And before we know it, everyone's going to know about this social. The social that no one's going to. Everyone will know someone who said no, and they won't want to say yes, because they'll be the odd ones out. I'm going to look like an idiot. And this is where I don't want to be. The face that gets all these no's. The person being ridiculed and talked about behind his back. No, thank you, not for me. I want to be in my comfort zone, getting the odd rejection from a single source. No one else needs to know. It's worked so far for us, so why change? Why did we go through all this embarrassment? So anyway, to the story. So we get to the bar and we order a drink each. I order a pint, just in case that, that idea doesn't come along, that excuse. And we see the owner and she looks busy. So I don't want to disturb her. She's a busy lady. There's another excuse. But in the end, she'd finished doing what she was doing and she isn't busy anymore. My fear factor then was rising rapidly. But really, why? I wanted to know. She says, no, I'm happy. Single rejection. Comfort zone is open again and it's looking very cozy. But I suppose my fear then was she's going to say yes. Is that really my fear? How crazy. Out of all the things and all the things we've been hunting for is yeses. All we've wanted for years is yeses. And now I'm fearing a yes. My comfort zone is drifting off into the sunset now on a very fast horse. So and then we approach her and we ask our question. And her response is like nothing I could have ever imagined. It's an excuse that topped every excuse known to man. It's like, why didn't I think of it? It was brilliant. It was foolproof. She had sold the business the day before. Couldn't make it up. Well, I couldn't anyway. And if Carla hadn't been sitting next to me, she would have never believed me. So I thought, that's it. Comfort zone. Here I come. Got my pipe, slippers, good book. I'm off to get comfy. You know, good effort, nice try, but never mind. Also, I thought, the next thing she does, she introduces us to the new owner. What, really? Right now? Yes, there he is, standing there. Smile on his face, hand outstretched, introducing himself. Shit. Okay. Take off the slippers, Greg, and put down that pipe. This comfort zone is well and truly closed. So we have a chat with Troy, the new owner. We set a date, we agree a price, and we shake hands, and off we go. So we are now walking down the road that I just sulked my way all the way up. But this time we're walking faster. My fear of rejection should have been an outright overdrive now. I should have been having a massive tiswas and a meltdown. But I wasn't. And that was very strange. Where had my fear gone? That I didn't understand. We've now booked this room and we've just got to fill this room. This is going to take talking to a lot of people. There are a lot of rejections out there and they are all headed our way. So why aren't I scared? Why am I walking so fast? Why am I smiling? What's going on here? This is just very odd. But now, looking back, I know what happened to my fear. He'd left and done a runner. Didn't even leave a puff of smoke behind him. He had gone. And the reason he'd gone is because my why had just turned up. My why was standing there right in front of me, face to face, nose to nose. Nowhere past him, he's a bit of a big bugger. Real nasty piece of work. Didn't smile, doesn't play well with others, doesn't care what I think, doesn't care what anybody else thinks either. Now, to some, my why might seem a bit negative, but I promise you, to me, it's not, because it's worked. My why is big enough to take my fear of rejection, who is also quite a big bugger, and drop kick him out of the park. It's a why that's unstoppable. It's a why that can beat anything, just like all good whys should be. Now, a why, everyone's why, it has to be the strongest, most emotional force imaginable. If it's not, what's the point to it? A why should drive you to do anything and everything, no matter what. It should be so strong that you do whatever it takes, as if your life depends on it, or more than that, your kids depend on it. It has to be a desire. It has to be so strong that your biggest fear literally disintegrates right in front of it. So it's so strong it turns you into a hungry lion with toothache. Nothing will stop you getting to that dentist. So I have this why, and I also have a problem with my why. It's a very hard thing to conjure it up. It's easy to say I have a why. Everyone says I have a why. I do it for this is my why. But it's a very hard thing to actually reach that point where my why actually comes into action. I need a something or someone, yeah, thank you, Carla, that takes my why, shakes it and wakes it, and it turns it into an action, an actual act or motion that I have to do. No excuses, no getting around it, have to do it. The end. Now this I find almost as impossible to activate as it is to beat my fear of rejection. So how did my why get into action? I suppose by facing, or being forced to face, my fear of rejection and multiplying it by 1,000, although it did feel like a whole lot more at the time. We've just forced rejection to the front of the line. I've spent all this time pushing it to the back, right to the back. But now by booking this social, by booking this hall, rejection is queue-jumped and he is now first in line. So anyway, we're walking back down this road and this time at speed. We're always breaking into a light jog and my brain is in overdrive. My why is in full swing. He's got big knuckles, big bat, and he is on fire. My fear of rejection is a thing of the past. My present challenge is now, right now. If we don't fill this room, it will be a failure. And that's where my why says no. My why says this: I am not a failure and I will not fail. So I need to stop this imminent failure. We get home and I get on the phone. I start with our closest friends, and what I'm spouting is a total load of gibberish. However, it's worked. It's actually working. A couple of friends were saying yes, first one and then another one. And this wasn't just a, yeah, all right, we'll come. This was a yes, count me in. And I'll bring my other half. And I'll bring our mum because she likes wine. Our warm list was being warm. After a few conversations, and I stopped gibbering, I did get my line down to a much more fluent script. Still natural, still very me, but much, much better. I did all the usual hellos, and then I asked, Paul, I need to ask you a favour. Can I borrow 2 hours of your life, please? Cara and I are holding a wine station in social, and I'm looking for your help. You just being there is enough. That's all I'm asking of you. Will you come, please? If you have a great time, please spread the word for me. There are a million scripts out there, and that's just what ends up falling out of my mouth, and it worked. My excitement, my enthusiasm was just ridiculous. It showed and it did work, but also I was very sincere. I meant it. I was asking for help, which isn't an easy thing to do. And I was asking for their help, not anyone else's, theirs. So there was genuine heart in all my words. So, carrying on, I'm on the phone, back-to-back calls, whilst shouting to Carla, make a list, add Terry and Simon, they're both for 4. Also make another list. I need to ring back Paul and Ben because neither of those 2 answered. Then make another list, put Trevor on it. He didn't even listen to me. Make sure I never do anything for that man ever again. All I was asking for was for people to listen. Now, if he couldn't spare me that courtesy, I had no time for him either. Anyway, while I'm doing my calls, shouting at Carla, she's trying to do her calls. She's also trying to word a message to Paul, but she had no chance. I was just on fire. I was ringing everyone I knew, and some I didn't really know, but I just didn't care. Rejection meant nothing over failure. So anyway, so this night we're sitting there doing our thing, 2 hungry kids. They could see no cooking was going on and absolutely no attention whatsoever from their mum and dad. Our boys had scavenged every bit of food in the house that didn't require adult supervision. And my phone was running out of battery. So we stopped. It was getting a bit late and we were done. We'd realised we'd never win Parent of the Year that night, so we did feed the kids. But we finished that night with nearly 25 people coming to our first social. My nerves had long gone, and they took with them my, rejection with them. My why had worked, and I mean it had actually really worked. So the next day, still on fire, still totally excited and totally enthusiastic, which you have to be if you're going to invite anyone. If you say a bit, oh, do you want to come to my wine social? you don't get the response. Excited, enthusiastic. It showed in how I spoke, my body language. I was excited and people liked that. So the next day I was texting Carla through the day. I was at work, but I didn't get much work done. But we did get our numbers up. We went up to 40. And then the next day we went to 50. Then we got asked to up the tickets again. So we did. And we reached 60 invites. Now to get to there, we really had spoken to everyone we knew. And a whole lot more we didn't. But you don't need to know that many people. Ask one person and that turns into 4. One phone call we made turned into 6 people. So you don't need that many people. We have heard for many years, I don't know that many people. Well, us too. And it's hard for us also because everyone we do know, we've already approached them in the past about another business. Everyone we know knew we were already doing a thing on the side. And now we're doing another one, another thing. And we want them to support us again. Yes. So it is hard to ask people. I'm well aware of how hard and scary it is to find people. But you can do it. Because when you're on fire, when your why is actually working, when your why is in full force, you find more people. We found more than we thought we knew. I went into Carla's opticians. I didn't know their names and they didn't know mine, but they knew my face. They knew every so often I'd come in and pick up Carla's contact lenses on my way home. So they got an ask. And the butcher at the top of the road, we'd used him before. I knew his face and he knew mine. And I knew his name was Jim because his shop was called Jim Joy. He got an ask. We spoke with anyone we had the slightest relationship with and some that we didn't, which would normally be a very scary thing to do. But when your why is in full swing, and I mean outright overdrive, you are absolutely bulletproof. You just have no fear, none whatsoever. Absolutely nothing can stop you or slow you down. You know, rejection doesn't hurt anymore. You just don't care. You've got a why and that's what you're going for. So my why hadn't been like in overdrive like this for such a long time. It had taken us, Carla, booking this social to drag it out of its box. It had taken total fear to be confronted, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do. But if there's anything you guys remember from my jibber jabbing tonight, please remember this. Face your fear. Whatever or whoever it is, it's stopping you. Face it and confront it. Because if you do, you can beat it. And I found that. And if anyone can do this, you can do this. Once you've started, which is the hardest bit, that first step, that first ask is so frightening. But you'll find that you can do it will actually turn into, I can do this. And then from there, it will go into, I'm doing this. I am actually doing this. And it's working. I'm working. Once you've taken that very first step, you'll see that this is doable. And then you actually start to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself and you have to believe that you can do it. And when you start to, it's totally liberating. The fear leaves and the belief takes hold. All the things we always wanted and dreamed of, they actually started to come into focus for us. They weren't this distant dream far off. They actually became an actual realistic reality. We could actually touch what we wanted, not just look at them from afar. It all became actually real. But if you don't start, you'll never get it. Everything will stay in the distance. Everything will stay just a dream. And it'll be hopefully one day, we got ourselves in a position where we only had one way to go. And that was straight towards my fear. No sidestepping it. We got positioned so there was only one way to go. And that was straight on, straight into fear. If you're like me and you have that fear and you can't, and I mean, you really just can't do it, you need to find yourself your own Carla. He or she, whoever that may be, get someone to make you face it. Many, many, many years ago, we've been doing this for 20 years. Carla was in another networking company. She had a sponsor called Barbara who lived up in Newcastle. So we didn't see her much, but she certainly made up for that in her calls. She would ring twice, 3, sometimes more times per day. Paul, that's not an invite. Don't you start doing that. However, this was a lady and she gave Carla no excuses for all fears, no time whatsoever. She and Carla would generate leads, do the texting and the email thing, and then Barbara would say to Carla, have you rung them yet? No? Do it now. Do it right now. I'll ring you back in 10. Bang. Down went the phone. That was it. What choice did Carla have then? She had none. Bit harsh, I thought, but it worked. No excuses, no put-offs. That's what paid our mortgage. So anyway, back to the story. Now our social night is looming. I've written an opening speech, Tried it out on Paul and Tara. It seemed to be a hit. Didn't say anything we shouldn't do. And I practiced it every night. It became the bedtime story for our youngest son, and he liked it too. So the night arrives. We've got the room, we've got the wine, got my opening speech. Paul, Tara and Zoe with us. And my nerves are mounting now, massively so. People are starting to drop out. The texts are coming in. But also, people were turning up. We had no choice. This is happening. This is actually happening, and now we can't stop it. I forget my speech. I fumble my words, and it's difficult. My fear is building. It's just on overdrive. But I needn't have worried. Guess who just turned up and walked up the stairs behind me? Bit late. Should have been here half an hour ago. But yes, finally. Eye mask, flowing cape, pants on the outside like some sort of dodgy superhero. My why turned up. Tonight is not going to be a failure. This night is going to work. And it does. A massive thank you to Paul and Tara and Zoe. Cara and I did have a great night. It was a successful night. People were happy. We made some customers. And just as importantly, we raised a lot of interest. Meaning we then had the beginning of our next list for our next social. So that's the end of our first social story. But like any good film, there is a sequel. Bear with me because I'm ever so dry. So since our first social, we've held one every month. Why? I've asked myself that question a lot of times, I can tell you. Why do we put ourselves through this every single month? The fear is even worse now, it's higher. We've done it once, but can we really pull it off again? What about twice, 3 times, 4 times, 9 times? Now that's fear. It's a strong one, but we positioned ourselves right in front of fear. So we have no choice. We can't go around it. We've chosen this road, we're on it, and we're not stopping. We have our vision, we have our plan, we've got a goal, a place we want to get to. We want to see our socials every month full of customers and guests, like an old-fashioned social club, like the old comedy Cheers. Everyone knows everyone. There are regulars and there are guests of regulars. And we're getting there, but this isn't happening overnight, or in a month or 6 months or even 9 months. And if anyone's joined this company going, I'll have it done in 6 months, it takes longer than that. You have to get a following. We're getting a following now. We have a few regulars. Our local customers get they get an invite every single month. It's part of their monthly subscription. So they get their wine delivered, but every month, one night off, come to ours. This, we feel, is how we've kept all but one of our customers since we've joined this business. We invite our customers to a night out. Not just new people, but customers. We want to look after them. It's hard work to get a customer. Now we've got them, we want to keep them. So we offer a Tuesday night once a month that isn't the norm. Yeah, how many people do we all know get up, go to work, come home, do all the usual things? Kids' dinner, washing up, ironing, general moaning about the day. And then that's it. In front of the telly with a cup of tea. Only to do it again the next night and the night after that. Our members have a night off from that every month. They can come, drink some nice wine, meet friends, make friends, raise some charity money, and above all, have a laugh. We want to see our socials full, standing room only. We want to have people coming to us, asking us about it, not us going to them telling about it. We want all our customers to have that feeling of belonging, because people who belong stay. This club says it has a 90% retention rate. We're above that at the minute because we're looking after who we've got. We want people who aren't in our club to be jealous people because they are missing out and they're wanting in. Our vision is beginning, and we have a few, not as many as we want, but this is going to take time. This takes consistency and patience. We know this and we respect this, but it is happening. We even did it in the very beginning. If we just got one member from each social, in a year, that's 12 people. Now, most of those people will be couples, so that's 20 odd people. If every one of those 20 people just brought one friend to a social, that's a room with 40 people. Chances are you would get more custom out of 40 people, especially if in those 40 people, 6 people are sitting next to people who are already in. Makes a massive difference. But everyone has to start somewhere. Everyone starts with 0 in an empty room. We did it, but we've got some people now, you know, someone that's been told about our nights and they've been invited. They've been tonight and they've joined us, and then they've told others about our night, about our social, about our Cheers bar. This has and it is working. I remember on our very first social, I invited 2 guys I know, Terry and Dan, and they said, sure, yeah, we'll come and support you. And they did. And the next day I rang them, like we did everyone that comes to our socials. We speak to every one of our customers and guests before and after each social. No texting or messaging, proper conversations, proper old school network marketing. So anyway, Terry and Dave, they said, thanks very much, really great night, but it's not for us. If it helps you, we'll come again, just to keep the numbers up. So I said, yes, please do that. That would be good. So they did come to our second social. And then they came to our third as customers. We had another friend, and at the time of our first social, he was going through some rough business times. So we didn't invite him. I thought he had enough on his plate without us harping on about our great new business. But that wasn't fair of me to do that. I shouldn't have prejudged. I broke the golden rule, the one that, who am I to make their decision for them, more for me. In the end, we did invite him. He's been a customer ever since, and he's never missed a single night. So socials do work. They never skyrocket. It's never going to skyrocket straight away, but it's working. We see this working. Each month we have more people to ring. Each month we have a little bit more residual income, and we have a greater night each month. I say greater and bigger even, but 2 months ago we had our quietest social ever. It was just short of embarrassing. Now we've had socials with up to 10, 20, 30, even 40 people, but this month there were 7 of us in the room, which was a bit of an ouch because there should have been 20. Half hour before kickoff I got 3 texts. It totaled 12 people not coming. Carla wasn't well either, so even she didn't help with the numbers. We had 3 regulars, none of them had brought a guest, 1 new face, and someone had been to a social before but wasn't a member. And it was me and Paul. So really we had a social with just 5 people. But we did what we said we'd do. We had a social, and we did. I didn't need my wire with his capes and his pants on the outside. It's fine on my own. And we did have a good night. We had a really good night. I didn't do my lines. Our socials, we have them structured. So I do a different bit about the club, the wines, the membership, what we offer in between each wine tasting. So they're structured, but they're not stuffy or stuck up. No hard sell or anything like that. That we don't do. If it's not got meaning or it's not funny, we don't say it. So we did Jerry's 5 S's in turn, and that was it. Yeah, that was one of my favourite socials. Well, that was until last month's. It was last month, and it was 7:26, 4 minutes before kickoff, and in the room we had 2 people. They didn't count because it was me and Carla. Now that was proper panic stations. Even underpants on the outside was not going to save me that night, but I needn't have worried. By 7:40, we only had 2 empty seats. But then I gained a new fear. Oh my God, we're going to run out of wine. But we didn't. I need to stop stressing. And again, thanks to last weekend's offer and following up, proper networking, we did gain another 2 customers. We'll keep doing our socials, and we'll keep doing while my wine makes sure they're an enjoyable night, doing everything we can to build our dream, looking after every customer we get and gaining new ones. Doing everything to work towards where we want to be, where 1 monthly social isn't enough and we need to do 2. And then on the other weeks, we'll hold a business opportunity night. Just like the call we all have every week, we'll have the slides, and at the end, we'll do a wine tasting. We have our vision. We know where we're heading, and we know this will take time, but that's okay. Everything takes time. Look at Aldi's, the supermarket. That started with 1 shop, selling stuff you couldn't read because it was all in foreign. You had to look at the picture on the box to see what you were about to buy. Now, that was never going to work, was it? It has, massively so. Aldi's is now a household name. And all the big untouchable supermarkets have also said, oh, that will never work. We're not worried about that. They're now worried. They're losing customers. More people are hearing about Aldi's. More people are wondering about it. And now everyone knows about it. More and more people are feeling like they're missing out because they're not using it. So more and more people are now shopping there because no one likes to miss out. Now, we are a long way from that. But we started where they started, with a vision and not much else. And look where they are now. Everything starts with 0, just as we did. So that's my lot. I need to wrap up because I do feel like I've been jabbering on for far too long now. I've shared our first social story, what it did for me, how Carla made my why work, and I mean really work, where we're up to now and where we want to be in the future. Carla and I have done exactly what it says on the box. We've got in, we've got wine, and we've gotten social. So thank you for listening. This has been a real privilege to have been asked to do this. I say asked, but it was more pushed than asked. So really, thank you, Carla and Paul. I've left my comfort zone yet again. So, Paul, back to you. I'm done. Oh my God, I need a drink. I've been talking a long time.
I'll tell you what, that was absolutely superb. And the reason that my head was down is because I was following it with you. Greg sent it to me to have a look over, and I thought, right, I'm going to follow this. And you might have seen me laugh before there wasn't a funny bit, and I kind of read it and I thought, that's quite funny. I thought that was absolutely bang on point, absolutely brilliant. And there's a few bits that I want to add to that, because I have been involved with the majority of their socials, and I've seen Greg come a hell of a long way since we started. And on that first night, he was petrified.
Yeah,
he was
proper nervous.
Yeah. To a point that he had this script that he'd been practicing over and over and over and over and over again. And when we started it, he basically turned around and he said, right, I just want to thank everyone for coming. Hope you have a good night. Here's Paul. And that was pretty much it. It was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Talk about throwing me into the deep end. But that was pretty much how it went. And now it just flows. It really does flow. And I've now met people on numerous occasions, like friends of Greg and Carla's, that go to these socials once a month, and they're like my friends. You know, he talked about Dave and Terry tonight. Great guys. They go every single month. They, I think they go on a pub crawl either before and afterwards. But they're great guys. They've just come back from South Africa. We talk about the football, and I feel part of them. But one of the other guys that goes every single month, and he's a customer every single month, doesn't like wine. And we kind of made it our mission this year to find a wine that he actually likes. And I remember doing one, it must have been the month before last, because last month I wasn't there, or this month I wasn't there. And he turned around and that's not bad. So we're moving in the direction of we could actually get him to enjoy a wine. But I remember the first few we done, and there was people there that he didn't know, and there was people there that we didn't know. And we was asking everyone, what do you think? All tastes the same, all tastes disgusting. And it was like, whether it was red or white, it all tastes disgusting to him. But he goes every month. Every single month he's there, and every single month he's part of their club as a customer. So for you guys listening to that tonight, I hope it kind of like hit home with how much fun you can have with this business. Because it is a social business. It is a fun business. It's all about getting out there and, trying the product. And we've spoken about like online versus offline and what works best and, this, that, and the other. And there are a lot of internet marketers out there, and there are a lot of people that want to build this online, which is absolutely fine. But for me, that's the kind of like bread and butter of it. You can post some bits on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter, and you can do some stories and do some videos. But when we've got a product like wine, there is nothing better than sharing it with people and seeing their facial expressions about how good the wine actually is. Because the majority of us have been in since we started shipping wine anyway. And I honestly don't think that I've had a bad bottle. There's some bottles where I think that was okay, but overall, the quality of the wine has been superb. And we've always had great feedback. And like, again, going back to Dave and Terry, like, they're into their wine, they know their wine. And again, 3 out of the 4 wines generally they absolutely love. So I'm really looking forward to getting these exclusive wines in and seeing how they go down, because I had a conversation with Helen earlier, and what we've done up until this point, in my eyes, in my opinion, is a warm-up. It's an extended warm-up, but it's a warm-up, because now this month we can say to people that we are owners or brand partners with an exclusive premium wine club. That's it. We've come through the crap. We've come through the shit, really. We've lost a lot of people along the way. I think we'll get some people back. But the people that move on, we wish them well. We wish them all the best. But one thing that Ross George has said to me right at the very beginning, I think it was when Shayo decided to move on, he turned around to me and he said, look, I'm going to say this to you once. He goes, when it comes to PJ, loyalty pays. And that's always stuck in my head. And this has not been easy. You know, this has not been an easy venture. At times, it's not been fun. You know, I've had to deal with a lot of complaints and, you know, negative comments and, you know, this, that and the other. And they see leaders leave and whatever else. But I've always had, you know, I've always been thought the same thing. What happens outside of like our team is noise. So whether Austin resigns, whether Nina moves on, whether, you know, anyone else decides to go, whether someone in our team goes and joins another business, you know, great. Good luck to them. Wish them well. But like I said, once this wine starts coming in the next 2 weeks, that's when we get to work and that's when we can really enjoy ourselves. And that's when like the hard work will pay off, because Austin done a live earlier, and if you've not watched it yet, go into the MVP group, or Raz just shared it in our group, and he's so confident that this will become one of the biggest companies the network marketing profession's ever seen. And if he can say that, being the person that he is and doing the job that he's done, and he said on this video tonight that even if he didn't work for the next 6 years, or even if he didn't make another dime or penny or whatever for the next 6 years, he will still be able to live. And for him to turn around and say that about direct sellers excites the crap out of me. So, Greg, that was honestly absolutely fantastic. So I am going to open this up. So hopefully some people have got questions for Greg. So who's got a question? HP, go for it.
Thanks, Greg. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. Loved your stories. Loved all of your fear factor and how important it is to kind of get out of your comfort zone and grasp that fear and move forward with it. So a couple of questions. First of all, how did you handle your sessions with 40 to 60 people? How did you manage that many people in the room?
Well, our first one was our biggest one. So yeah, Paul did pretty much all of that. Because also when we first booked this and we were inviting people, we had never actually been to a social. Not a one done as we do them or as Paul had done them. So we booked it and I was telling people what I thought would happen. And then Cara and I went down to Horsham, to Zoe's, and we watched Paul for the first time. And I was like, oh, I haven't told people this at all. So, but we've worked it now so that they are structured. So our first bit is, it doesn't matter if there's 5 people in the room or 40 people in the room. We have our structure. So I'll always have a bit before each wine tasting, before the 5 S's. But then at the end of that, Paul will normally jump in and say something. But when we say, right, you know, who preferred the first red, the second red, blah, blah, and we get round the room, that's when we're asking our questions. You know, and Carla has some great lines. One of them is like, it looks like you're ready to join. Do you want to jump in? Or it's like, you enjoyed the wines, 3 out of 4, that's not bad. It's like, as long as you get everything in your first bits, like in between each wine, you know, that's another thing I've got written out and I've got it written structured. We tell people we think everything they need to know. So when it does get to the end and we actually speak to people single, one-to-one, and work our way around the room, theoretically, they shouldn't have that many questions. And then it is exactly that. You know, I said it last month, I was like, who's going to buy wine this Christmas? Is there anyone in this room that over the next couple of months isn't going to buy wine? Who in this next coming months is going to get or going to give wine at Christmas? Everyone's hands goes up. And that's when you go, well, right now you're standing in the best wine shop in the world. Why don't you have some of ours?
Fantastic. Good. And your monthly socials then that you run for any of your customers, is that in your home or is that in another location?
No, we have a little cafe up the road.
That's the same place, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same place. So yeah, we go there last Tuesday of every month. So what we always do is we always invite every customer we've got. That's our thing. It takes a lot of hard work to get someone in. Don't want to lose them. So every customer that lives local to us, they get an invite every month. And it's like, come along, bring a wine drinking friend with you. Then we will still approach other people that we find along the way. But we found our first one, we had 60 invites, 60 people didn't turn up because a lot of people dropped off. But when you're speaking to people, if someone you know is in the club, our customers want to share what they're doing. And it is, for example, Gary is another, he's one of our very first customers. He's only missed a couple, but every single month he'll come and he'll bring someone new. Mm-hmm. Where he finds his people from, I don't know, that's a proper networker. But he finds people, and then every month he'll bring someone new. Mm-hmm. And the two that he brought last month, one of the guys loved the wine and the other one loved the night. So it's like, between the pair of you, then you need to join. Everything you want is here. So, yeah, it's nice to give something to your existing customers as well. That's always my fear. It's like, we'll speak to someone and say, will you support us? They'll say, yes, I support you. And it's great. But if we don't keep speaking to that person, in the end, that one day that person's going to look at their bank statement and go, why am I paying 90 quid? There's a wine shop down the road. I can go and spend a tenner, I'll still be better off. Mm. So we want to keep who we've got. And a night off once a month is a big thing.
Yeah.
For a lot of people don't get to do that, and it is same old, same old. And it is a school night, but how much damage can you do in 2 hours? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's why we do it. And it's easier to fill a room with someone doing the work for you.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. And touch wood, it's working. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 1 or even 5 or even 10 socials. But in the end, the more people that are in there will tell other people. Something I say at the end of every night as well, firstly, thank you very much for coming. But secondly, tell everyone tomorrow what you've done tonight. And let people spread the word for you. And it's worked.
I like that. Good. Can I come to your next wine social, please?
Yes. We'll tell you what it is.
Brilliant. Sounds brilliant. I'd love to hear how you deliver the night. So good. Thank you.
To do that, come and see. Oh my God, if that'll Paul ask me to do my structured wine social, we'll do it on a Zoom.
Good.
We'll all have the wine though.
Question from Sean. Sorry if I missed this. Do you pay for the venue and or snacks, or is the owner just happy with footfall and new customers coming in? Great training, Greg. Thanks.
Right. No, there is a cost to this. So there's room hire. That's a cost. Food hire. That's a cost. And then we also buy charity prizes, which are always wine related. But that's not a cost because that's us giving to charity. Fine with that. But Cara and I, you've got to make sacrifice. It's a business. And the way we do it, it's like before our eldest son moved out and we had a living babysitter, at least once a month, Carla and I would go out for dinner. Just the two of us, mum and dad thing. Mum and dad, no kids, just us two. So that's now turned into our night out. Our night off from the kids is doing that. So there is a cost, but it's a business. And every business comes with a cost. And if we didn't do this, we wouldn't get what we got. So yeah, there is a cost to it, but there's a bigger cost at the end that comes the other end, that comes back to us. So yes, there's a cost, but it's the same as us having a night out, just the two of us going for dinner somewhere nice. So yeah.
One thing I want to add that I didn't mention earlier, when Greg was talking about phoning, everything is done by phone with them guys, and they do the initial invitation, then they phone up and confirm the night before, and then they do follow up like the day after. And like we all know, you go, people say they're going to turn up, and it's always on the night. It's not on the day. It's always on the night of the event. Oh, really sorry, can't make it. Really sorry, can't make it. And when Greg was doing his presentation earlier, there was that one night a couple of months ago where in the space of about 10, 15 minutes, I think we lost like 14 people on the list, but we still had a great night. We still got through quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a good night.
We got through quite a bit of wine that night, but it happens. But what these guys do is they always over invite, knowing full well that people are going to drop off. But it's going to get to a stage, and I think it's getting to that stage now, where people don't want to miss out because it's such a good atmosphere in there. And like Carla and Greg always put a great spread on. The room is a good room in there. And then obviously this month, the end of this month, it will be exclusive wine. So no one would have tried the wines, you know, in the country. These guys are going to be some of the first few people in the whole of the UK to try these wines. I still can't drink until the 1st of November. Damn it! But I will be there. You know, I will be there. I love going to the events down there, and we do have a lot of fun doing it. Right, Sean, love the fact that you invited people from your local shops. Definitely going to be doing that in my local newsagents, etc. Easy to do. It really is. And like, even if, you know, we've got these, like the postcards that you can give out to people, and then obviously these as well. So if you've not got any, go on to the back office and get ordering. Has anyone else got any questions? Oh, sorry, I missed a comment from Zoe. The first social is terrifying, but it gets easier and easier. Most important thing is to be you. Well done, Greg. Has anyone else got any questions that they want to ask? Anyone else? Raspin did text me earlier and he said he wouldn't be able to ask a question because he's sitting in the bath painting his nails, but, you know, that is...
Hello.
Hello.
Greg, how many customers have you converted to members from the start?
What, as in brand partners?
Yes. Yes.
So from our socials, all we've gained is just customers at the minute. Out of those, there are definitely 2 people that have an inkling of business about them. But at the minute, like I said, we want to do a wine social for customers, but then build up enough of a following to then do a separate business opportunity. So at the minute it's customer led and that's what we're doing. But if no one has any customers, we're not moving any product. In the end, if people keep coming to it and seeing this is what Greg and Carla do, it's a laugh, everyone's happy, I'd like to do that and earn some money out of it. That's where we now come. One of the structured, or the last bit of our social, before we, you know, actually start working the room, is I say about the business side of it and how that extra £100 or £200 a month makes a massive difference. So yeah, we haven't gained a business rep yet from a social, but there's inklings there, and in the end it will come. We hope.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well done tonight as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Francine, no questions, just really helpful and some great points. Thanks. Right, any more questions, or are we going to tie it up for tonight?
I'll jump in, Paul, because I spoke to you the other week about another idea we had to make our socials bigger, and someone said about local businesses. It's when Carla does a monthly post on her Facebook page that says we're holding our monthly social, we're going to start listing the people and their companies that they own, because every business owner wants to see their company name out there anywhere and everywhere. So we're going to be joined from Gary from Essex AC and Refrigeration. We're going to be joined from Terry and Dave from Crafty Plants. We're going to start listing the business names of our customers, because then we know everyone knows someone who owns their own business, and business owners are going to see that and go, why aren't I getting a free plug? And hopefully, touch wood, that's when someone will start coming to us and going, why are these people getting mentioned, not me? And then we'll say, come along, have a night out. So that's our next way of going, to try and speed the process and get it busier and make it easier to get people without, you know, it's still a struggle to find people. Another thing we do, you know, everyone that comes, that they'll get 2 invites, or they're allowed to come twice, if you see what I mean. And then they won't get asked again. Not in a nasty sort of way. It's like, if you want to come again, you know I'm doing this as a business. It's also another thing that we will ask people a couple of times. If someone says yes and then doesn't turn up twice, that's it. They don't get an ask again. And we've already had people come out and say, oh, you're still doing your wine thing? So people are now missing out, and they know they're missing out. So it just takes time. But yeah, we've set our rules and our boundaries, and it is invite the same person twice. Let someone come twice and have a good night, but they don't get a third one. If they want a third one, they need to join. Sounds a bit harsh, doesn't it? Sorry, but it is. We're doing it for fun, but we're not. It is our business. So yeah, that's our rules, if you see what I mean.
Perfect. Right, I'm going to get this up in the group straight afterwards. A couple of bits to let you all know. So tomorrow night we've got our third Sprint to Success call with Anne at 8:30. Details will go up into the group tomorrow morning or as soon as we get them. Venues have been confirmed for the weekend after next now. Again, just waiting for other flyers to be done. But Oxford is going to be on Saturday, October the 20th at 2 o'clock at Frilford Heath Golf Club in Abingdon. And then Manchester will be on Sunday the 21st, again 2 o'clock start at Northenden Golf Club, Palatine Road in Manchester. So if you can get to one of them, great. If you've got guests or prospects or team members that can get to one of them, great, do it again. And then the other bit, did I see somewhere kids can come? Yes. I don't know if it's confirmed, but yes, I'm saying yes, because if we can get people there, great. And then the other thing is obviously, again, this is open to everyone. It's the first leadership summit in Los Angeles in February. So qualification criteria for that is that you are a qualified master seller and you help one of your personals become a master seller and they stay qualified for 2 consecutive months. So if you become a master seller and then you help one of your personals become a master seller and they retain that status for 2 consecutive months, then you are invited to Los Angeles for the first leadership summit. It is open until the 31st of December. So there's plenty of time for everyone and we're all at a level playing field. So I've got to go and create a new master seller. Just because like Raz is a master seller doesn't mean that I'm invited. It doesn't mean that I'm a seller director. I have to go out and build a brand new master seller. It's £199 a ticket, but people in the UK and Australia, the company's going to take care of that. So we can save ourselves £200 by doing that. So if you want to be there, then get busy, basically. I think that is it for tonight. So as I said, we've got Sprint to Success tomorrow. We've got the opportunity call on Wednesday. And then we've got 3 more training calls booked in for October. Next Monday, we've got a guy called Patrick Powers. The following week, we've got Claire Wilkinson. And then last of the month is Liz Clark, wife of Danny Clark. So 3 good calls coming up. Do we have the dates for Los Angeles? The 19th to the 21st, I believe. So yes, we got lots to do, people, lots to do, but exciting times ahead. Now's the time, now's the time to start talking to everyone, going back to, yes, February. Now's the time to start going back to your original list for people that said no, for people that have tried the wine but they didn't like it or they thought it was going to be exclusive. Go back to every single person and let them know that when they join now, they will be one of the first people in the UK to have exclusive premium wine. So, great call tonight, Greg. Absolutely fantastic. Appreciate you taking the time to write it, present it, and go through it. Go and enjoy your water because you've got no wine. I'll see most of you guys on the call tomorrow night. So, cheers, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.